Hello, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well on this Monday night. Officially in August, officially ready for some college football this month. Going to be good. Just a few minutes here before we go live. Oh, we are live, but before we actually start recording the pod, waiting on Chris, and then we'll wait to see if we could get some build up here in the room. We will be talking questions we have for different teams, not only in the SEC, it'll be mostly SEC stuff, but we do have some national stuff to talk about as well. So looking forward to that. We will also be doing some fourth and wrong. So if you haven't already, go to our Twitter at CFB_uncensored, or you can go in the Facebook group, the Saturday Down South Podcast Facebook group. And we have got a post there where you can post your fourth and wrong before we get going. See some people are in the chat. Let me see what the comments are doing. B. Sumner's 90. How deep will the Braves go this year? I'll be interested to see what they do with the deadline here. Very happy that they extended Austin Riley for 10 years, though. That's fantastic. All right, I got Chris in here.
I made it.
All righty. I'm just letting the live listeners build up a little bit here.
Who's here? Anyone fun?
We got B. Sumner's 90. We got David Carter. Thoughts on Austin Riley's new contract? Absolutely love it.
Well, that's all you.
I don't like. How does Anthopoulos keep doing this with the Braves, where he gets these like extremely like team fingers?
The fact that he hasn't missed yet is pretty crazy.
The fact that he's got Albies, Acuna, Olsen, and Riley locked up for the next like decade.
I mean, the thing with Acuna is like that might go down as like an all-time move because they got him for cheap.
Yeah. I agree. All right, we're about to hit double digits in the live viewers. This is good. Everyone's on YouTube. Nobody will watch it in the Facebook group right now. Are we live in the Facebook group?
Did you set it up that way?
I did, but I'm not seeing. It's weird on the Facebook group how it'll show like posts from the past before it shows like what's currently going on.
Yeah, I don't understand any of that shit. It's the whole thing has been. I'm going to blame Tristan Smith, but I'm sure I'm wrong.
All right, cool. Well, let's get going, and then we have a lot to discuss. So, you ready?
Yeah. So.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of College Football Uncensored, brought to you by Saturday Down South. I'm your host, Tyler Huck, and with me, as always, my co-host, Chris Marler. Chris, you look great in that tracksuit.
Thank you. It's actually full body. So,
is it? Just one piece?
Yeah. Just one giant piece. There's a zipper right here. It goes all the way down to my anus.
No, it's just, like goes all the way around like a.
I didn't think it through. I don't really want to.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. No, I of course have been. I'm packing because I'm moving soon, so I'm trying to figure out like what 4 pieces of clothing I want to continue to wear for the next couple weeks because I've only been wearing like 5 total for a year. So,
are you moving soon or no?
I just said that.
How soon?
Within like 2 weeks. I'm excited. It should be fun. We're not gonna talk about it.
All right. How's your weekend? We might be seeing each other this coming weekend.
So I look at the set list. It's not great.
Yeah. What is your bae saying here in the chat? She also all in the chat. No.
That's nice. They're watching it Fidel.
Oh, cool. Anyways,
are you asking what I did this weekend? I got real drunk on Friday.
Yeah, so I saw this text or this tweet that you put out. I actually didn't see a text, which is funny because of what you tweeted, which is that you got really drunk. I think you tweeted on Saturday. You're like, I got really drunk last night, and I texted like all my best friends that I love them.
It's not exactly how I phrased it. It didn't sound that aggressive. I was just saying I got real drunk last night, and if I texted you, I love you, probably meant it. I mean, yeah, what
I
you
didn't
said
get
is
it.
pretty.
Yeah, I didn't get a text though, which was
You
off-putting.
know who got a text was Doring. And he was like, "Are you okay?" The amount of "Are you okay?" text that I got back the next day was not great. I was like, "Hey, bro, proud of you and all your accomplishments." And he's like in Hawaii. I'm like in general admission seating at a concert for 17-year-olds. And he was like, is everything okay? And I was like, I just want to let you know I'm proud of you because I know you need my affirmation. Yeah. I went and saw Churches, my favorite band.
Yeah, I know of them. I don't know a ton of their music. I did think that it was maybe for the female variety, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know a lot about the band. I'm sorry.
It's 2022. No, but like, I mean, there was people our age there, a handful. So
In the chat, if you listen to Churches, let me know. Carson Becker in the house. Uncle Chris and T Huck back on the scene. Love to see that. James Spivey in the house. We got Liz in the house. Eddie Booza. I don't know if you saw this. Booza says, "Why are we both so attractive?" Over under on pounds lost between the hosts.
Since when?
From your peak.
My peak was in college, so we
Well,
have gained
peak
a
like
significant
recent peak, like recent.
Oh,
like,
peak weight, like
yeah,
height.
yeah.
You know what? First giveaway. If you can correctly guess how much I weighed at the highest last year, you will win a sticker I'll forget to send off.
At your highest?
I don't. You know what?
Very offensive stuff on the chat.
Yeah,
I personally, well, I'm not no longer at what I got lowest to, but I'd say from my peak, I lost about 30, and then I probably regained another 10. So I'm about 20 pounds down from my peak.
Chris went from left tackle to fullback. 245. Oh,
it was bigger than that.
Significantly.
275.
273.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not good.
Sure. Are we gonna reveal the current weight, or?
I haven't weighed myself. There's a reason this thing is at an angle, and I'm wearing all black in my onesie anal suit. That is not what I meant. I meant the anus zipper. I gotta fucking.
All right. Well, we got Nicholas Moore got it 273. I think it was about 4 minutes after you said it, but
it's all
good job, Nicholas Moore. All right. We want to talk a little recruiting at the start of the show here. Then we're going to get into our 5 burning questions that we have for SEC teams. We have not shared these, so I'm praying that we did not pick the exact 5 same teams.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk a little national ball as well. We're going to get into some fourth and wrong at the end. I'm excited, Chris. Why did you want to talk recruiting? Was it to brag about Bama's recent success?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, we can. But like, did you notice this weekend that there was like at minimum 4 different fan bases? They were like, "Oh, I thought so-and-so didn't know how to recruit." I was like, yeah, well, the only people that thought that was your fan base. I mean, I even did it, to be honest.
It's true. It was that's so true.
And also, there's still we talked about this a while back. They whittled it down to like 16 5-stars, roughly. I don't know, 3 days after I spent all that time on that stupid deep dive and my conspiracy theory about blue chip recruits. So that was a giant waste of time. But everything I saw this weekend, they were still all 4 and 5 stars. So Bama got a couple guys. I think it was just a big recruiting weekend.
Yeah. Bama, like, everyone thought that Richard Young kid was going to go to Oregon. Like, he was getting, like, the crystal balls. And the day after, man, Saban just came in and said, you know what? I'm really not fucking around this year.
Do you think that I would have let a potential Bama commit go to Oregon?
Oh, are you like in the NIL game now?
Yeah.
Like using...
I got some baseball cards. I just traded them in. A couple Lego sets. So Petey, the dead bird from the apartment complex.
Yeah.
No, but like the fact that people in the Bama's, like in the Bama media were even saying, like, has Saban lost his touch? Is the game too far gone for Nick Saban? Georgia fans are freaking out about Kirby. Kirby is moving forward, arguably still a better recruiter than Saban.
I don't know. Saban, I think, obviously he's getting great players, but also at the same time, seems like he's making a real effort to take the best players out of Georgia this year.
The top 6 players overall in the state are all committed elsewhere. And you have to ask yourself if this is Stetson Bennett's fault.
And did they waste money on this new contract for Kirby?
Oh my God. This is
love it. I cannot wait for this season to start. It starts this month, everybody.
It's August 1st.
Yep. This month we get college football.
Did you know, like, you guys did at FSU, y'all did a water balloon fight?
Yeah.
How many injuries were sustained to the offensive line after that? I mean, it had to be at least 3.
Given recent history, yeah, you're probably right. That was recruits, not the team.
Oh, well, I mean, either way,
it's okay.
I just assume that
let's not factor in the way of narratives, bro.
I just assume DeAndre Francois caught like a stray and probably like a torn rotator cuff.
Hey, all honor to his name, R.I.P. He's not dead, but he died that night in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
That's fair.
Purposes.
Dark has been the most impressive. Oh, Sark. Yeah, Sark has been really impressive too. Here's my question to you though. You saw A&M do a barbecue pool party?
Sure.
Did you not see that?
No, I mean that's what they do now, right? The barbecues.
Yeah, but it was a pool party.
At Jimbo's house?
No, it was like at Kip's. Kip's apartment complex.
Love Kip.
Yeah, we all do.
We need to get Kip on the show.
We could probably.
You think he'll help us preview Texas A&M?
I just assume he's at a fucking Chick-fil-A working the drive-thru, so he can't be that busy. No, so they had that. I think Georgia had their junior day where they did like a slip and slide, a lot of water-themed activities. Right. I don't know what Bama did.
It's hot out there, Chris. It's dead heat, July.
I mean, we could use the rain.
Right.
So which one of those is your favorite, though?
I mean, personally, I think I'd love to go with the water slide. Honestly, like, is it a slip and slide?
It's slip and slide, and it was indoors.
Indoor slip and slide.
Yeah,
that changes my answer. I think I'd just rather go to a pool. I don't know about like a lot of activities. I'd rather just be relaxing.
Vandy just did like a what do you call it? Ice bucket challenge on like one kid, and that was it. Just poured like a liter of water on somebody. That was all they could afford. It was pretty bad.
James Spivey standing hard for the Chick-fil-A drive-thru people here.
Can't argue that.
Yeah. My pleasure. No, I feel like these days recruiting is basically like 50 to 60% of all. No, I'd say even higher than that. 75% of kids are already committed by the time the season rolls around. I mean, you're not this end of season, especially because the recruiting dead period started today. Super important visits to get in for your top targets. I feel like if you're not getting guys on campus that weekend, they're probably not committing to your school.
Right. That's fair.
If you can impress them with water balloon fights and snow cones, then let's do it.
Snow cones. Did you see Big Cat Weekend in Auburn? Were you impressed by any of that?
I did not see Big Cat Weekend. What went down there?
I mean, so they got a couple of commits, but they do this every year, and so I don't really know what all it entails. But Harsin was tweeting out stuff all weekend. I think I tweeted something way early in the morning. I was like, Harsin sounds like the horniest coach in America, and then deleted it. It was not my best. Not my best. But no, I just thought it was interesting because like every single one of these fan bases have been kind of freaking out. And you saw guys go to South Carolina. You saw guys go to Auburn, A&M. I mean, A&M added a couple guys. You had Malachi Nelson, the kid who's committed to USC, visit A&M for the weekend. Then you had people close to USC freaking out that the entire class was going to fall apart because it's only dependent on that kid.
He was committed to Lincoln at Oklahoma first. And he is a California kid. And so when Riley moved over, it probably made a lot of sense. I thought it was very interesting. Usually, look, recruiting is an insane game these days. Right. I mean, you're never like when I'm sure maybe Bama and Georgia and Ohio State probably feel a little more different. But like as a Florida State fan where we struggle with recruiting, when a kid commits, I don't even get excited anymore because I'm just like, okay, this kid's probably not going to end up in the class if we're being honest here. But quarterbacks, especially at someone with that momentum. It's apparently USC's NIL game is top notch.
Weak.
To see their prize recruit go out and visit other schools is interesting. Especially, it's not like he's going to visit. No offense to College Station, but it's not like he's like going to like some other cool beach or some crazy cool college town. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of attraction in College Station
You've
outside of
been
the.
negative as shit to start the show.
What is College Station? Some great destination I need to get to?
I mean, if they got 8 5-stars, I would assume it's got to be pretty good. But
Yeah.
well, we'll move
Yeah.
on from recruiting. It was
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty interesting weekend just in general because you saw a lot of movement in the SEC. I was on radio with Andy Staples and Chris Budden on Friday, and I made the comment that I didn't think Harsin was going to be on the hot seat, and Andy Staples proceeded to give me nothing but facts as to why I was wrong, and reminded me that he was already on the hot seat this calendar year, which that was a pretty good point.
Yeah.
Couldn't really argue that. But no, like one of the things he was bringing up, they were ranked like 72nd in recruiting, and they jumped up like a whole bunch. Florida, same way. Like they jumped up a bunch. Like, I don't know. I just think it's too early to worry about all that. But I thought it was interesting that you're starting to see all these people kind of like the classes take shape. And the transition out of that, I'll say, is again going back to our buddy Doring. He brought up the point last week that he thinks Florida has become the worst fan base in the SEC based off of expectations, the way they have handled Napier's first couple of months. He said it on Crane & Co., which is like what J-Boy has transitioned into. And I mean, he's from there. He was a Florida fan his whole life and then played there. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
What, just him saying that Florida fans are the worst, basically?
Yeah, and like taking your fucking fandom aside.
Well, no, I look, if you hyper focus on any one team and you follow a lot of their accounts, both, the beat writers, but then also like fans of the school, like you just get entrenched in. Remember, we always say Twitter is just like a fake place. Like,
yeah, it's not real.
It's real people, well, for the most part. But it's like 5% of the population. It's like right. The loudest voices that are not necessarily the biggest opinions, like, or the most widespread opinion.
Right.
And so when you get entrenched in that, like I used to do that with Florida State, like it's toxic as hell. Like people just like bashing these players and like bashing the coaches and like tweeting at the players, like insane stuff. And then the players retweet it and be like, all right, man, whatever. Like, so you could think that your own fan base is toxic as hell just by being a hyper fan of that fan base, right. Or that school, you know what I mean? So I'm not surprised to hear a Florida alum say that kind of stuff because he probably is entrenched in the Florida stuff. Florida, look, obviously bias aside, I think I've never liked Florida fans, but look, they're passionate just like a lot of the fan bases in the SEC. And you can say a lot of fan bases are the worst when it comes to the SEC. So,
wow. Okay.
I don't know. That's my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Like it. I mean, I just think that it's every fan base. Yeah. It's every fan base. I think it's been hyper focused and gotten worse over time. Like one point, like maybe the only fan base that hasn't been crazy negative with expectations is probably South Carolina. Vandy for sure, Tennessee, because like they're kind of coming on on the come up, but like you saw the stuff with Stetson after he decided he was coming back, like that kind of stuff, and people are already upset about it. So I don't know. All right, let's get out of recruiting shit and talk about stuff that's actually tangible and fun. And there's fucking football this week.
There is. All right, so we decided to kind of take our own lists and talk about what are you looking forward to most about, or what do you have questions about for 5 SEC schools, and then we're going to do 3 more national schools each. We did not share a list before this. It's one of our flaws. We don't do a lot of sharing of information before the podcast.
Yeah.
But I think it's also good because if we both have the same question, or not even the same question, but questions about one school, maybe it's something to be concerned about. So you want to start, or you want to start?
You start. And also, if you guys have any any comments as well? What you're looking forward to most? Any hot takes? Whatever you want to throw out there, put them in the comments as well.
Yes. All right. I'm going to start with Arkansas.
Okay.
All right. And my question for them is, who's going to emerge as the deep threat to replace Treylon Burks? Because Kendall Briles' offense is really dictated upon defenses honoring the deep ball and keeping them spread out. That's how his offense has such success. Treylon Burks obviously was great for them last year. Maybe an all-time Arkansas Razorback when it comes to wide receiver position. Trey Knox converted to tight end. Warren Thompson is very inconsistent. He is a deep threat, but he's not consistent with that.
Right.
The X factor is obviously Jaden Hazelwood, the transfer from Oklahoma, former 5-star, but he averaged last year at Oklahoma, which I think is a very, kind of air it out offense. He averaged 10 yards a catch, which is, compare that to Burks, who averaged over 16 yards per catch every year while he was at Arkansas. Not close. And so that's going to be who can step in and be an actual deep threat for Arkansas, because I think that's what their offense is dictated upon.
See, I think it's dictated off the run still, and KJ Jefferson obviously doing as well or as good of a job as he did last year of not turning the ball over. Wide receiver one can't have 10 yards per catch, just bottom line. That's like Slade Bolden numbers. I mean, it's fucking terrible. I wonder what Trey Knox is going to look like going to a tight end, like you talked about. That's a guy that I've been high on for fucking years and just hoping he's going to break out at some point, and he hasn't. So I wonder what that looks like. But the other one is if it's not Hazelwood, I don't think it could be Knox, because I don't think it's going to be a tight end in place of a receiver.
Right.
Is it going to be somebody in the run game? Is it going to end up being what do you call it? Raheem Sanders? Is it one of the freshmen they brought in? I don't know. I just think the biggest question for me coming out of Arkansas is the defense going to be any better, because they have a very tough slate ahead with that schedule. So
was that one of your 5 questions? Is Arkansas defense any better?
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. We knocked out.
The main thing is I think we hear every year how great of a job the coordinators have done. And it's a massive resource for Arkansas to have Barry Odom there as a former head coach and all that kind of stuff. And he's not a guy that's going to desire a bunch of limelight or a bunch of attention or trying to go anywhere else because of the way everything happened at Mizzou. I just think they've underperformed on defense. But talking to Bumper Pool at media days and bringing in somebody like Drew Sanders, who was a former 5-star at Bama and transferred out, he didn't lose his job to, because he wasn't good enough to play. I mean, he did, but it's because he was playing behind Dallas Turner. So wonder what that looks like. All right. Next one I have is for A&M. And it's not about the quarterback position, because I think that's too obvious. How does the defense look? Because Tim Elko's gone after 3 or 4 years as the DC, and where they were constantly in the top 3 to 5 in the SEC. How does the defense look under DJ fucking Durkin taking over in College Station? Because they have a lot of young talent, and if they can get on the field, I still think that's going to be a potential nightmare for some teams, just because games are always won in the trenches, and that's where all of their 5-stars seemingly were. At the same point, you can't play fucking 8 D linemen.
Right.
So what does the defense look like there? They're good on the back end, but I wonder what they look like up front.
DJ Durkin, is he the guy that basically murdered somebody?
Yeah, he did. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Shamed a kid publicly about how fat he was, and he made him eat a Snickers or something in front of the team.
Yeah, he's a good coach, I guess. All right, so
he would have to hold on real quick. DJ Durkin is basically, who's the fucking dude from Heavyweights? He's Ben Stiller from Heavyweights.
Oh, yeah. Oh, damn. Now that I'm on the spot, I'm not going to remember it, but
Tony Perkis.
Perkis. Yeah, Perkis. God. What a movie, by the way.
Fantastic, dude.
That character is one of my favorite characters of any movie of all time.
Tony Perkis?
Oh, yeah. Go watch it again. It's fantastic.
Oh, I've seen it a whole bunch.
Lunch is canceled today due to lack of hustle. Deal with it. All right. Let's see. My next question.
Hold on. Have we talked
What?
about the fucking ending to heavyweights? Because now I can't unfocus. We
Which-
talked about the ending to the movie Heavyweights.
Remind me.
Okay, one of the worst fucking lines in the history of cinematic art. One of the worst lines ever. At the end of the movie, when they win the Apache Relay and they get the trophy, and the fat guy with the terrible hair, just terrible hair, throws it into the lake. He goes, "You're crazy, man. You're crazy." And he's like, "You're right, I'm crazy. Crazy about my gal." And then like does the dip of that. That was the fucking worst.
Tough. That is very tough. Not a great scene.
No.
I think that guy died.
What's wrong with you today?
Pat. I think Pat died. I'm
Who's sadder than Hook?
No pun intended. That's serious stuff. All right. Ole Miss. The simple question is, who's going to be their QB to replace Corral? Because Corral was pretty damn good when healthy, obviously.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart transferred in from USC ahead of spring. Everyone thought he might be the guy. Wasn't great in the spring. I mean, obviously he was new to the system, but not necessarily what you would want to see as an Ole Miss fan. And then Luke Altmaier, who played sparingly last year and was, again, okay as a QB. He was just okay in the spring as well. Mm-hmm. You've got playmakers at every single position. You brought in Zach Evans from TCU. You brought in Michael Trigg, a very athletic tight end, get the give vertical, USC. You brought in a couple, Jalen Robinson from UCF and Jordan Watkins from Louisville. Plus, you got a couple seniors at the wideout position. Veteran O-line, 4 returning starters or guys that haven't started. They brought in a transfer there as well. Defense should be better. Kiffin said that this is the deepest their D-line's been since he's been there. Secondary is a strength. But if your QB, especially for an offensive guy like Kiffin, isn't on the ball, I think you're obviously going to be very limited with your upside.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The pieces are there. Who's actually going to emerge at QB to replace Corral is a big question for me.
Why the fuck did Jerry and Ely leave?
I don't know. Did he go baseball?
No.
I can't remember.
No.
He went football?
Huh? I don't even know. Did he get drafted? No. I mean, that part was weird. I love Zach Evans. I think the story that'll be the highlight of this team, I think like the biggest name on this team at the end of the year is either going to be Trigg as a mismatch, especially in the red zone, or it's going to be Zach Evans. Evans is really good.
Very good.
So we'll see. I don't know. And I think Dart wins that starting job. All right. For me, South Carolina, who becomes the actual targets, not just the go-to guy, who becomes like the targets of that offense? Because we've seen Kevin Harris be like the only guy, right? Jeff Williams, fantastic question. We've seen him be the only guy. We saw last year.
To answer the question before you move on,
mm-hmm.
I wear a polo shirt like this pretty much every day to work, and then I just throw on a hat before this because I like wearing hats when I'm not at work.
Heard that, brother.
All right.
Anything else about your fashion?
Yeah. I guess they didn't change it up, huh?
I mean, no, it's fine. Anyway, now I've lost my train of thought because of your
actions.
Because of your actions and what you've done here today. All right, so South Carolina, who becomes the go-to guy for Spencer Rattler? Here's a stat I didn't know. Spencer Rattler's 15-0 as a starter. So how many games in does that break? Because it's not going to continue, I would think, undefeated. I brought this up a while back in the spring. Like the amount of 5-star, 4-star players he has on the offensive line is significantly less than it was at OU. Same with some of his skill position players.
It ends week 3 this year, by the way.
Yeah, against Georgia.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to be high on South Carolina. They're kind of just, like Arkansas of the East this year with like, we love Shane Beamer. It's a super exciting time to be like a Carolina fan. I wonder how long that sticks around because they kind of overachieved last year. And again, like we're all pulling for him. My sister went there, like, love Beamer. Hope South Carolina goes undefeated. Hope they beat Georgia week 3. No offense, Georgia fans. But like your best options for like besides Josh Van are 2 tight ends. Like, are you going to run like a poor man's Georgia offense and try to keep 2 tight ends on the field the whole time? Like, what does that look like? Who becomes like the go-to guy? Or are they actually going to be able to spread it out amongst several players and have like a balanced offense? Because I think Marshawn Lloyd, the kid from Delaware, and no one recruits Delaware like South Carolina. I think that kid could be really good. He looked really good in the spring game too.
I actually had one of my questions about South Carolina as well, and mine was, how good is Spencer Rattler? And I'm saying good. Maybe on the positive, because I think a lot of people looked at that pickup and were like, oh, that's cool, like, you know, former 5-star, but like not necessarily meh, but it's like, you know, he had a lot of off the field issues. Like, I almost think like everyone thought he was a total asshole. Did you ever watch?
Oh yeah, he was an asshole.
He was on
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, not like, I don't know if he got in trouble with the law. Just like people just weren't real fans of the guy.
Right.
To the point where, you know, he threw for 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 7 picks his redshirt freshman year, and was the starter, obviously a Heisman front runner coming into the next year, and he was just on a pace of, he was 1,500 yards, 11 TDs, 5 picks, 75% completion, and Oklahoma fans were screaming for him to be benched for Caleb Williams. Again, to your point, had never lost a game. And I feel like people were just kind of like forgot about Spencer Rattler after that, because now it's all Caleb Williams, all Caleb Williams. Mm-hmm. This is a pretty damn good pedigreed QB here that South Carolina got. And as we know, if you're very good at the quarterback position, well, I mean, your upside is pretty high. I think people are excited about South Carolina. What's their over-under win total? Do you know?
I don't. 69.
Nice. So we want. But I think that, I mean, Rattler could be back to his former self, which was a, you know, former Heisman Trophy, at least preseason watch guy. I mean,
okay, hold on. Here's the thing about Spencer Rattler. First off, he has the chance to be, I think he's well on his way, but he's basically Lane Kiffin, like for players in the SEC this year. A guy that everyone used to hate. I mean, Cannell came on the show. I was very outspoken and actually used the word that he seemed like an asshole, which is, you know, because I'm very professional in this job as a journalist.
Right.
I don't think that you see that anymore. I think he's become a leader of that team. You also have some good upperclassmen. David Carter brings up the tight ends. And he says that the win total over under 6.5. Okay. Rattler left with a 15-0 record as a starter and a 70% completion percentage career. Like, again, it wasn't like he was replaced by like some, like, not in a rude way, but it wasn't like he was replaced by Stetson or like a walk-on or a 3-star. He was replaced by the number 2 overall quarterback and a top 10 player overall in the country coming out of high school, and like a really, really good quarterback. I mean, I think he has the potential to be really, really good. I just don't know what his supporting cast is going to be. Like, is he like good enough to be like Corral was last year, where it's like he could put that team like on his back and, you know, and like go win you a ball game? Or is it going to be something where he's a little bit more of not a system guy, but like, you know, like the expectations for quarterbacks at OU, especially after the last 5 years, that's probably one of the reasons why those fans were so irrational about it.
Wasn't Beamer a part of that, though?
Yeah.
Like, just building that offense to be, I mean, obviously Lincoln Riley's the guy, but you know, I think this could be, I got trust that Josh Van is going to continue to increase his, I mean, he was really good for them last year, and Jaheim Bell's really good. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Marshawn Lloyd at running back. I mean, he's got some options, and I think they got a tough schedule, and that's probably why they're over under 6.5. But I'm at least excited to watch South Carolina now for the first time in a while.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, who should we go to next?
I've got 2 more. What do you have? Okay. How many do you have left?
Like 8 or like 12. I mean, like 17.
Well, 2 more in the SEC.
Okay. All All right, let me see which ones I want to do here because you did South Carolina, right?
Yep.
No, that was mine.
But they were also one of mine. So I'll start with Alabama then. You
Go on.
perked up a little bit. How fast is the O-line gel?
Oh my God.
Because they were obviously the biggest question mark last year, as we've talked about probably ad nauseum. They bring in Tyler Steen from Vandy, 33 career starts. It is Vandy, so I'm not. I mean, I guess you could be a good O-lineman anywhere, but I'm not like super excited about that yet. We'll see what he does. They got a new O-line coach, Eric Wolford. Bama has what, 3 new starting wide receivers. I mean, obviously Ja'Cory Brooks was on the team last year, but he didn't start. You've got Jermaine Burton. You brought over Tyler Harrell from Louisville. It's going to take time, I think, in season for those guys to get going, and it would help if your O-line was doing well. You've got a very tough road game at Texas, beginning of the year. Can they be humming at that point? Because as you have said on this show, you're worried about that game. Probably for that very reason.
Here's the deal. I think the defense is going to be really good, but you also are unproven at corner, right? And you're young there too. And Saban brought that up, the fact that you had like a couple of super young corners even last year, like not just because of injury, but in general. So they were limited and still are on how they're able to do a couple things and like the defense they're allowed to call. Will Anderson's great. I mean, Henry To'o is great. Jordan Battle's great on the back end. But like, if you go to Texas and lose, which I think is possible, you look at this schedule, then you got to go the rest of the year, man, and you can't lose a fucking game. Arkansas, A&M, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and that might sound like it's like not a big deal, but like at Arkansas, A&M at home, and then at Tennessee,
Ole Miss?
Yeah, but that's late in the year. Oh, I'm not even getting.
You're just saying you're just saying at the beginning, like just gelling and yeah.
So you can't afford to lose any of those games. I think that I don't think they lose Arkansas, but that stretch of having to get up for those 3 games in a row, like because everyone's talking about the A&M game, so you could potentially be walking into a letdown game against Arkansas. Sure. Everyone just kind of assumes that Bama's going to just coast through this year and it's going to be like the revenge tour thing. I just don't think that's what's going to happen. I mean, this is going to have to be, besides last year, probably Saban's best coaching job to keep everyone that focus. But also Will Anderson will probably just strike the fear of God into people. So
there's a lot of chat about just golf in general now in the comments.
Chris swings real hard.
Okay, you're up.
Hold on. How did we go from who performs better at the NFL Combine, me or you, which clearly would have been like me?
Well, I mean, what events are you talking about?
All of them?
No.
Yes, besides having to take your shirt off, yeah, you'd win that.
How about 40-yard dash, bro?
I would destroy you in the 40-yard dash.
There's no chance.
Are you okay? What?
All right, before we get off topic, let's go. Next team.
Okay.
I've only got one left in the SEC.
All right. I mean, I could have talked about Bama for a minute, but okay. The one I will go with between these 4 teams, who overachieves? Florida, Kentucky, Auburn, Mississippi State.
Florida, Kentucky, Auburn, Mississippi State.
Yeah. So, like, Florida, because I want to see what that offense looks like, because I think Richardson's going to be really, really good. Like, really, really, really good. And I think that might be a scenario where he can go.
But let me ask you this before that. If he, like, I know there's a lot of hype and he did make some big plays last year, but like, I mean, we know Mullen is a great offensive mind. Like, why would he not play him more if he was like really that great?
He started Nick Fitzgerald for 4 years. I mean, there's a lot of things that Mullen did that I'm not going to try to break down, like the reasons why. Why does he?
It's not like Emory Jones was like tearing the world on fire. The world on fire? That doesn't make sense.
No, not at all. It's really stupid. And if there was like a competition at the NFL Combine about how to put sentences together,
I think I'd probably win that.
Yeah, you'd win that for sure. No, I think that, like, I said this today to somebody. Richardson has the ability with like his ability, just like he has the potential with his ability. I'm not comparing him to Cam Newton, but he has that kind of potential impact where he can be the only person on that team and still go win you games.
Okay.
They still have a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah, I agree.
So, okay, that was my question. So who performs or overachieves, I guess, because I think it's Mississippi State and I think it's Florida.
I was gonna say Auburn just because I think everyone's expecting them to be a disaster.
Yeah, I've been pretty high on Auburn too. I don't like it. Have you seen Calzada throwing?
Like videos of him throwing, like at practice.
Yeah, like
I mean, all I know about Calzada is that.
God, Jesus Christ.
All right. My last question: the SEC, Tennessee. Can they just take that next step? Because I think a lot of people, I think there's like kind of weirdly expectations for Tennessee right now. Don't you get that vibe that like people are like, yeah, I kind of expect Tennessee to be like one of the better teams in the SEC East at least.
I completely agree. I mean, I'm in that group. So.
Yeah. Let's not forget that their defense really needs to improve. They gave up over 500 yards 5 times last year on defense.
Wait, what?
Didn't have a pass rush. Like Purdue put up 535 on them in the bowl game, which
with a bunch of backups too, by the way.
Yeah. They need better play out of their secondary, which was awful. They need a better pass rush, which would help the secondary. Also with the offense, obviously I love Hendon Hooker. I think he's going to have a great year, but last year was the first year Tennessee ran that offense or anything remotely close to that offense. They took the league by storm a bit. Teams are going to be more prepared for it this time around. Like, can they keep improving or are the expectations too much right now?
So, and I'm not just saying this is Mickey Shereme's here. Also, I'm just getting fucking dragged in the comments over here. My athleticism.
Yeah, same. I think.
So my question, I came out of media days with the whole attitude that Tennessee's going to potentially win 10 games. I love Hendon Hooker, all the stuff we've talked about all offseason. They returned 15 starters, a lot of experience back, blah, blah, blah. Like, of course, they'll take the next step. Some of the same not excuses, but things that I've been saying, like fan bases shouldn't do, just like Arkansas. I don't think you just expect to win 8 games considering how bad that program has been at times. Like, I mean, you've lost 8 games 5 times in the last decade. You've only won more than 8 games, twice. And that schedule is like brutal. Tennessee, for whatever reason, a bunch of us think because of how good Hendon Hooker is and how much they overachieved in year one. Do you remember what I said about Heupel on this podcast last year? What he needed to do?
Fat and lose weight.
I didn't say that because I would never do that. But I mean, yeah, probably a little bit. I said he should go 4-6. 4-8. Like, don't win over 5 games tops because the expectations are going to be out of control. And now they are. And I think coming out of media days, I have severely overvalued Tennessee and undervalued LSU because of the fact that Tennessee, you still play at Pitt, which I think is a win. We all just kind of assume they're going to come out in the first month 4-0. Ball State, at Pitt, Akron, and Florida. Florida's at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then at LSU, that's a night game. That's a loss. Bama at home, that is probably a loss. And you're also talking about LSU.
Kentucky will be a good game.
What's that?
Kentucky will be a good game.
And then Georgia.
At Georgia.
If you get through that and you only have 2 losses, then you're home free. But you could easily have 4 losses in that stretch.
Grayson says, do you regret your UT over UGA pick yet?
So here's the thing. I didn't pick that. That was Connor O'Gara. We look very different. I never said that Tennessee was going to beat Georgia. I don't think that's going to happen. I hope
someone finds a clip of you saying that.
That could happen too. Yeah. I mean, I forget most things I say. But no, that was not me. All right. You want to do national real quick?
Yes. Some of these may be a little obvious, but I just want to see USC. I mean, Lincoln Riley had immediate success at Oklahoma when he took over for Stoops. You want to talk about remaking a team in one offseason, at least on offense? Caleb
Hold
Williams at
on.
quarterback.
Real quick. We need to touch on this real quick. So you're fine, Grayson. I didn't mean to interrupt, but the Tennessee Florida thing. Somebody brought this up in the comments.
Okay.
Tennessee's beaten Florida once in the past 17 years. So why do we assume that's a win? I don't think it's just automatically a win. I want to be clear on that. I'm saying I think most people have just begun assuming that it's a win. In the same mindset, I think a lot of people think South Carolina is just going to go down to the swamp and win that game as well. I don't necessarily think that's true. So that's my biggest question, because I think when you look at a team like LSU, like Brian Kelly's a much better coach than Josh Heupel, right?
I guess.
What? Wait, is that real?
I don't know. Is it?
You fucking tell me. Do you think that Josh Heupel is on par with Brian Kelly?
No, we'll see. I don't. I'm on record as questioning the fit there at LSU. I think Brian Kelly's been a good coach. Yes, better than Heupel.
Okay, went all around just saying that. I think that Kelly is obviously a better coach than Heupel. I didn't realize that Tennessee had a worse offensive line than Bama last year in terms of sacks allowed. And this whole thing with their defense has been a thing that they have is followed Heupel everywhere, where they give up a shit ton of yards because they're on the field for 40 minutes a game. Anyway.
Back to USC.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you want to talk about remaking an offense in one offseason. Caleb Williams at quarterback, Travis Dye from Oregon at running back, Jordan Addison from Pitt at receiver, along with Mario Williams from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
On defense, they picked up Jacob Covington, one of the top corners in the portal from Washington. They got your boy Shane Lee from Bama at linebacker. I don't know if he'll turn out there. I feel like when people leave Bama, not necessarily a good sign, but we'll see. Saban's not going to have one of their better players leave the team, I feel like.
I mean, but they've got a lot of players. They've raved about that kid in offseason workouts and spring ball.
Look, the Pac-12 is pretty weak. Oregon probably will be decent. They got Bo Nix, but USC could be right back into the mix of being relevant. I mean, this is Joe Public, but they've taken on the most money as, for championship bets this year. Yeah. That was said. So I'm just very interested to see what they look like in year one, and if they can hold on to Malachi Nelson, they're setting themselves up very nicely to join the Big Ten.
Fuck the Big Ten for one. That's a good question. Do you think Lincoln Riley knew that USC was going to the Big Ten when he took that job? My question wasn't about USC, but I do wonder who wins the Pac-12, and are they going to make that conference relevant? Because you've seen a lot of people kind of be high on Utah, especially after the Rose Bowl game last year. I think Whittingham is one of the best coaches in the country. Oregon is still preseason top 10. USC is depending on where you look, they are top 15 area. USC was 4-8 last year. 4-8. Do you know who they beat?
I don't.
I'm looking at it right now. They beat San Jose State. They beat Washington State. They beat Colorado and Arizona.
Not exactly murderer's row there.
No. You had one game last year that they lost that was within 10 points. I mean, they lost by 18 to Oregon State. They lost by double digits to Stanford. They don't return that many starters from last year's team. It's not like there's some senior laden team with people weren't high on USC until Lincoln Riley went there. You know what I mean?
Right. Isn't that a good thing though if your team sucked that you don't have a lot of the players from?
Sure, but I'm saying it wasn't USC was not going to be a part of the championship picture, especially in the preseason.
No doubt. Until they also brought in all those. I mean, Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison, Travis Dye, Mario Williams. No one's done better in the portal than that. Those are guys, yeah. USC by far did the best in the portal, in my opinion. I don't know what the rankings say.
Because of the overall star talent or star power?
Yeah.
Or because
Caleb Williams and Jordan Addison are the two best guys in the portal.
Okay. I mean, sure. I think that like going 4-8, we've seen USC be overhyped before. You know they're in the same division as Utah, right?
Yeah, Utah. Look, I mean, Utah should be probably favored, but
They
that's why
will
I'm
be.
interested
Yeah.
to see can USC because Lincoln Riley had immediate success when he started at Oklahoma. I mean, his first year they played Georgia in the Rose Bowl, didn't they?
I don't think that was his first year, but yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it might have been. I mean, I'm
Maybe.
pretty sure Lincoln was the quarterback, or that was 2017.
There's probably an easy way to figure that out, but
Who the fuck was in between Lincoln Riley and Bob Stoops? How am I
nobody.
forgetting
Lincoln
this?
Riley took over for Bob Stoops.
Oh, then
He
that
was
was
on
a
the he
while
was on
ago,
the
dude.
staff.
Okay. I don't remember that at all. All right, let me try to focus because now you've opened up a wormhole about Lincoln Riley.
I'll look it up while you.
Yeah, do that. It's his 6th year head coaching overall. Anyway, I think Utah's the best team
Yeah,
in
he
that.
started 2017 at Oklahoma as head coach.
Okay, so he took Oklahoma to a Heisman Trophy and a loss in the
In
playoff.
the Rose Bowl and the playoff. I mean, that's pretty good for year one, I would say.
Right. I would love to see what I wonder what their strength of schedule was like. I'm not doubting Lincoln Riley and what he can do with an
Yeah.
offense. But if you have a defense that was already shit last year and they only returned 3 starters and you don't have anyone really coming in to like shore that up, you still got to play defense even though it's the Pac-12. And you're in the same division as the best team in that conference, which is Utah. You don't
Corey
play
Foreman,
Oregon.
number one recruit, was a USC commit.
Okay.
Defensive end.
They were
Brought in
4-8 last year, Tyler.
Jacob Covington, one of the top corners. Fill that hole. Zip it up. Shane
Okay.
Lee, you just said.
You know what? Now
Big
that they had
reports
that
coming out.
they got like an 18-year-old 5-star from last year, and that one like defensive back from the portal. They're probably going to go undefeated.
All right.
I bet you they
They're gonna be
lose 2
horrible.
games before their bye week because they will lose to Oregon State on the road and they will lose to Utah on the road.
Okay. I'd bet against that.
Okay, we can do that. A little LBB. Anyway, my question is, I think Utah is able to be good enough to get to the playoff. I don't know if that happens. All right, next big picture question from the National. What do you got?
Miami.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, look, I hate Miami. Probably more than I hate Florida. Maybe not. I don't know.
Like the city, or
I've never actually been really in the city that much through the airport, but Mario Cristobal, obviously, it's a big story. What kind of success can they have in year one? They have a pretty damn good QB, so he walks into a pretty nice situation. And obviously, their NIL stuff is off the charts. They're top 5 in recruiting now. If he has real success in year one, I fear what they could do. Not only, I think Miami's going to be a very big portal team as well, because imagine if you played like you were the best player at Kansas State, one of the best in the Big 12. You're like, it'd be sweet to go on the beach down and play my last year down in Miami. You know, have a pretty easy conference to play in. You know, easy path to the playoff. You just got to get through basically Clemson at this point. I think Miami could have real success if they have success on the field this year. Probably either way, but it'll be interesting to see what they do.
I completely agree with that. This is one of the things I said early on about NIL. It is the quickest route for teams that are former blue bloods and like historically tradition-rich programs. It's the quickest way for them to get back because you still have deep pockets. You still have fans that like that think, you know, I guess 2002 wasn't that long ago, right? Tennessee, like 98 wasn't that long ago. You still have people that like want, and they desperately want to get back to that. I wonder if that looks like just Miami's not a fan base that like shows up necessarily to the games. They show up on Twitter a lot. Right. And like, I mean, I'm not saying they don't have a good fan base, but I think Cristobal, you're spot on. He'll turn that around. I don't know if that's this year. I'm not like, I would be shocked if they upset A&M.
Yes, I would too. Shocked? Yeah, I think yes. Jimbo does tend to get up for big games. That will be a big game, I think. But he just loses the weird ones.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not just, but he can coach a big game. He prepares well for those. So I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be surprised. It's a
Okay.
difference.
All right. My question is, because I don't want to fucking touch Clemson. I hate Clemson. I don't want to get into any of that. And you guys know how I feel about Texas this year. My question is, before I get like my second to last, does anybody challenge Ohio State? Because if you were asking me today, and I don't want to give this away, even though I probably already have, I think Ohio State is my preseason pick to win the national championship. And yeah, I mean, they were a bad defense away from being a really good team with all the talent they had on offense, right? Like, I mean, Henderson, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, CJ Stroud. Yeah, it's fantastic. Like, it's very hard to lose two receivers like Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and still be this fucking highly touted on one side, like that same side of the ball going into this year. And it's warranted, right? Does anyone challenge them? Because, they have a chip on their shoulder. Ryan Day's a really good coach. This record speaks for itself. I wonder if they're able to get through the season unscathed, because if they don't, I don't know if they get the benefit of the doubt over a Clemson, over a Texas this year, right? So does anyone challenge them? Or or does that defense finally turn the corner and make them a complete team? Because they got Jim Knowles from Oklahoma State, who was a fantastic coordinator. They ranked in the top 5 in almost every major category of significance last year at Oklahoma State. He did that at Oklahoma State. And like the athletes they have in Columbus are a lot better than the ones they have in Stillwater?
Yeah, Stillwater.
Okay. So that's my question. What's your last one?
Texas.
God, Jesus Christ.
I mean, look, Quinn Ewers, again, we've talked about this, was like the number one player to ever come through the ranking system when he was a freshman. Now, he didn't beat out CJ Stroud, but Stroud was a redshirt freshman last year, so he had a little bit more experience and ended up
He's also
doing
pretty
just
good.
fine. So you weren't going to replace him. But that doesn't mean Ewers isn't very good. They bring in another team that overhauled themselves in the portal. You bring in the two Bama kids, Ajay Hall and Billingsley. Now, they both have had issues apparently with the Alabama program. They were in the doghouse, both of them at some point. But maybe they were a little bit revitalized under Sark. You got the kid. A lot of people probably won't know this name, but they got a wide receiver from Wyoming that a lot of people wanted, Isaiah Nayor.
Oh, yeah. He's legit.
So, and as you've talked about, I mean, Sark is one of the better offensive minds, if not the best, in college football. They just had the number. Now, these kids are freshmen, so maybe not towards the latter half of the year, if at all this year, but they brought in the best O-line class in the country last year,
right,
including 2 5-stars along the offensive line. Obviously, the defense is going to need work, but maybe in year 2 they take another step. I just think, you've got a lot more to work with in year 2 under Sark. And, I mean, a lot of people hate Texas, but I'd love to see him back. Much more than I would Miami. Too. Just say that.
Yeah, that's fair. I won't get into Texas because I've probably been a little bit too much on that soapbox. All right, I guess my thing is this: who is the first team? Who's the Cinderella team from this year? Right? Who comes out of nowhere and becomes like the team that everyone's pulling for in the country, that has like the first big upset? Which is my other question: who has the first big? Like, what is the first big upset of the year? Like, what changes the entire landscape of the 2022 season? Like, in the month of September. And I'm going to give
on
you...
the spot is tough.
What do you mean?
Because I'm going to have to go look at schedules to see what major games we have to start.
Right. So what I'm going to say is, in terms of upsets, I think the Texas-Bama one is, like I said, potentially one. Miami going to A&M could be one.
Yep.
Clemson, oh my God, Clemson's schedule is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
And they get NC State at home. I will say, I think you don't see anything crazy necessarily week 1. Like, I don't think Oregon upsets Georgia. If I was to pick one, and it's not that huge of an upset because they're at home, they're only like a 1.5 point underdog, probably Auburn against Penn State. I think people are kind of sleeping on them.
Mhm.
But I'll give you a team from a couple of the conferences that I think are going to have very good seasons, and people aren't giving enough credit. Somebody brought up in the comments, Grayson Long did, about NC State. I think that's potentially one.
I got one.
Okay. And then
What about Notre Dame?
Yeah, I think Notre Dame's going to be good this year. But they're
Over
not going to be
Ohio State, game 1.
I don't think that happens.
Could happen. It could happen.
I mean, it could. Maryland is another one in the Big Ten. I think that could potentially be a 10-win team with the people they have on offense. You're laughing, but you haven't looked up any of their stuff.
No, I was laughing at the text that we just received, but
I probably overreacted. Fuck. So is Maryland able to challenge anyone in the Big Ten? Right? Is NC State or Miami able to challenge Clemson? And God, for the love of God, keep them down. Is there a team in the SEC that were like an LSU that has done an incredible job in the portal, and even though they have a first-year coach? Any of those things, I still think if you're picking your playoff teams today, and we'll do our official ones later, who would it be?
I mean, I'd have to go chalk here with Ohio State, Bama, say Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Clemson will probably get it back on track this year.
Fuck. Hate that.
I don't want that, but I think that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't, you think about the teams last year, does Michigan have it in them again? I don't think so.
No, I mean, does Nebraska do anything?
For the playoff?
Playoff? Just in general. Do you think they move the needle at all?
They're going to have to if he wants to keep his job.
Right.
I do. I mean, they were, people joke about it, but, they were the best 3-win team of all time last year. They
really were.
All these really close games that ended up not going their way. And some of that could be luck at times. I mean, so you'd think maybe they are a little underrated coming into the season. It'd be nice to see.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, I'll give you mine. Okay. I'm going to say Texas, Ohio State, Georgia. Fuck. I don't know if I should say Bama.
Yeah, you should.
I just don't think they have the easiest path out of the SEC. I think it's Georgia,
A&M.
Yeah, no, fuck that, fuck A&M. I think Georgia goes 12-1 or 13-0, gets out of the SEC as the SEC champ. I think Ohio State's undefeated. I think Texas gets in at 12-1 and wins the the Big 12 championship. And then it's between, I think, if Utah or Clemson are undefeated, Bama's not going to get in. So I think there's a higher likelihood of Clemson getting in or Utah getting in over Bama. So my final four: Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas. And the national championship game will be Georgia and Ohio State. Ohio State wins. I can't wait to change my mind in two hours.
Yeah, that's that's the season preview. We're ready.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was fun. That got the juices flowing for football.
Mm-hmm.
It's off season is coming to an end, which I love. We all love. That's why we're here. We can end with a little fourth and wrong, or do you have one more? I can't remember.
We'll get one announcement, and then also we'll do a quick fourth and wrong. All right, so the announcement is twofold. One, we still need you guys to give us your suggestions of the first teams you want us to do previews of, because we're doing 2 pods a week now. It's the first week we're doing that.
It is.
We're going to try to get to every single SEC team, but not Vandy. We're also going to do Texas, a couple of big national things. So who should we do first on Thursday, I guess, or Wednesday, whichever one it ends up being? The other announcement, the week 0 weekend, we're going to do a meetup in Atlanta. And have we planned it out? No. No, we don't have all the details. But one of my good friends, one of our listeners, David Booty, we were regulars of each other. Fantastic bartender. Best margarita you ever had in your life. He works at American Spirit Works, right? ASW Distillery at the Battery. we're going to rent out that space. We are going to do a live pod and or a meetup, give away some bourbon, give away some whiskey, probably some fucking stickers, and get ready for the season. So the goal is to do it the Friday of the night before week 0, so August 26th, or the night before week 1, which is what, September 3rd?
Yeah, that weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know
exactly. So a shit ton of giveaways. We're gonna drink, we're gonna talk football, we're gonna hang out, you're gonna get so many awkward side hugs from me. Probably some handshakes from Tyler, who's more professional.
Right.
And oh good, me and Liz are in a fight. That's fun.
You found out in the comments, huh?
Yeah, it's a tough scene, huh?
Yeah.
We need to get a little bit of a head count and figure out how many people would want to go or would want to show up and what weekend would work best. So there's that.
Love that. So keep that on your radar. End of August, early September. Trying to work out the details still.
That's just the first of at least
75 meetups.
2 to 3 meetups this year.
Fantastic. I love it. I want to get out. People have just been bashing me in the comments, huh?
I mean, somebody said I ran a 6-second 40-yard dash.
That's
which I don't think I could. I don't think I could do that at all.
Okay, cool. Let's do a little fourth and wrong, and we'll get out of here.
All right, go ahead.
Put your comments or put your questions in the comments, I should say.
Ooh.
I've got to navigate over to the Facebook page.
Here, I got you. I'll start then. Willie Gray, what's your favorite cereal? Why is it Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
It's weird, but I guess it's not weird. But I do love Cinnamon Toast Crunch a lot. When's the last time you ate like a cool cereal like that?
A cool cereal? What are you, fucking 7?
Like Lucky Charms? Consider that one cool?
Never eaten Lucky Charms in my life. I didn't get fat from cereal, so.
You've never had Lucky Charms?
Ever.
Why?
I like cereal. I'm not a big sugary cereal.
You're not a big leprechaun guy.
I hate leprechauns. Yeah. Short people in general, they weird me out. Small hands.
No joke. You're gonna think this is a lie, but Cracklin' Oat Bran is my favorite cereal.
Jesus Christ.
That is on God, bruh. On God.
I honestly thought that I was hosting with my former co-host when you just said that. That is a surprising pick out of you.
Have you ever had it?
No.
Don't knock it until you try it.
Mine's grape nuts, but you have to mix it with like.
You just bashed me on mine, and you picked grape nuts.
Grape nuts are better than what you just said.
You've never even had mine.
Crackling Oat Bran?
Cracklin' Oat Bran. It's like $70 a box.
Just say you need help pooping without saying you need help pooping. Like you just need some fiber.
Bro, I don't need any help there, all right?
Okay, Jesus Christ.
You ever seen these hands? No problems here.
I think I like Cheerios. That's fine too.
I do like Honey Bunches of Oats. Be Summer.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That's a good one as well. Okay.
All right, next one.
Start. Still navigating to where we need to be. So
Tyler, 2 questions. This is for you from Nick Jones. He says, how many times do you poop a day and how much money do you make before taxes? I'm fucking with you. Somebody said, what's the hardest you've bombed doing stand-up? Oh.
Oof. I've never done stand-up, so it's easy for me.
In 2012, I was paid to $150 to headline a show in Covington, Georgia. And they were like, so we want you to headline, do like 45 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can do that. I did like an hour before. There's no fucking way it was good. Because it was too early on in my like stand-up career to have done that. I drive to Covington with Jeff Colby, Brian Grooms, and my buddy Corey Kane. I go on stage. It's in this like awkward fucking like American Legion like dance hall type place. Like it was like an event space, but in Covington. Does that make sense?
Doesn't feel like there'd be a lot of events in Covington.
There were not, and it was awful. So I get up on this stage that's like awkwardly too high. It's like 10 feet off the ground. Everyone's way below me, and they're in like folding chairs. All the lights are still on. I'm supposed to do an hour. I get up there, and 12 minutes in, I made a joke about Jimmy Buffett, and you heard audible groans, and people got really upset. people started walking out in the middle of the set. People were like very offended that I hated Jimmy Buffett. So like the rest of the show, I was like, just this laborious entire like stand up. It was awful. I'm just trying to get through it. So I finally just was like, all right, you guys have a good night, and just run off the stage. They gave me my check, and I go see my buddies, and I was like, they're like, tough night. It was not your best. And I was like, that was fucking awful. How long was I up there for? Like an hour and a half? They're like 25 minutes, 25 total minutes.
That's a long set.
I was supposed to do an hour, and they paid me like actual dollars specifically for that. It was awful. It was awful.
Booze in the chat. Favorite Dorito flavor?
Ooh.
I'm a Cool Ranch guy. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, here's a fun fact for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Liz says that's how you guys started your Bumble conversation, or she started it.
Yeah. She said Cool Ranch or nacho cheese, and I sent her a picture of my dick, like right away. Just right away.
Really reeled her in.
Really just reeled her in. No, I'm kidding. I feel like that's like how some like Tinder nightmares would be. I think I said nacho cheese, but I don't really like Doritos.
Interesting. All right. Let's see. Who can down the most beers during an outing at Topgolf? And if you could pick a music playlist while there, what genre of music would you choose? From David Carter.
You asking me?
That's for both of us.
I can outdrink you, I think.
How many beers do you think, like if you were really getting after it at a Topgolf, let's say we're there for 4 hours, how many think you would down?
For 4 hours?
Yeah.
Do I have an assistance?
Let's say we went up there to catch the South Carolina-Kentucky game, watch the full game while we Topgolf. How many beers are you polishing off? You've got an free Uber to get home.
Like, there's zero chance I'm going to get in trouble?
Let's say you can't get, like, collapsing while you're trying to walk out, being carried out, but you're, like, definitely can't drive, very drunk.
I could easily, 20 minimum.
20?
Beers?
What kind of beer? Like Bud Light?
Not 20, 15.
Yeah, you probably cannot drink.
I think you're underestimating how much I used to drink.
Used to. That's the key.
That's true.
I have kids. I'm a father too. I've got problems now, so I got to drink them off. You know.
Yeah.
I think
I get out drink you for sure. Yeah.
If you could pick a music playlist while there,
churches.
I think you Trapped, obviously.
Trapped. Yeah, you can't listen to rap while you're golfing. Probably early 90s country or churches. But now here's the thing. This is the main factor into this. Like, who's sadder than Marler? Like, how sad am I during this 4 hours? Has like Bama just lost?
All right, let's do both scenarios. Let's do Bama just beat Texas A&M by 30.
Yeah. Okay. And there's not any sad country playing? Minimum 15.
Now Bama lost to A&M by 1 at the last minute. Probably. And there's sad country playing.
Oh yeah, over 20. What that night would end up with me like not remembering how I got asked to leave, because I'm sure I would have been asked to leave at some point. Throwing up in a front yard, possibly. I might have done that on Friday. Texting you at like 3 o'clock in the morning saying that we're not doing the podcast tomorrow. Easily 20. Easily.
Oh man. Well, as Seth Nixon says, just judging by this conversation, I can't wait for the meetup.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
And that's hard liquor, folks.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to be careful
with that. Yeah.
All
right. Good work.
All right. Cool. Yeah, this has been good. Remember, we are now twice a week going forward through the rest of the season, so that's gonna be fantastic.
Fucking preview. Hurry up. Not you, them.
Oh. So go subscribe to the YouTube. Go rate us 5 stars. If you haven't done that, you need to go do it. If you've done it, try to do it again. Maybe this thing is like you could do it once every couple of years. How many bars have you been asked to leave? Lillian said. There's been a few. I
You?
probably physically ejected twice out of 2 different bars in my life. Those were nights that I actually did forget for the most part.
I mean, I was ejected from jobs at bars that I had. Like, so just in that case alone, there's a lot of times in my 20s too, though, where like I would start the night with like multiple Four Locos and then go to like Buckhead Saloon and just ask them to play like Lee Greenwood the whole night, and they'd be like, "Hey man, can you get the fuck out of here? Thank you so much."
And then you punched a woman in the face.
What?
Just kidding.
Okay. All right. We're gonna
we got to
log
get
off.
out of here. 5 stars on iTunes. Go subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe again. Let's get this thing to the moon. Let's take this thing to the next level this year.
Just tell us who we should preview.
Yeah, tell us who's. And Chris is gone. All right, everybody. For Chris, I'm Tyler. We'll catch you guys later. See ya.